Hello there folks, and it's been a while since I've done one of these. I'm Marshall and I'm bringing you a 1v1 cast in Planetary Annihilation, and this time it is a cast of PA Titans. Of course, the new expansion that came out for Planetary Annihilation a number of weeks ago. This one between two fantastic players of the game, Matiz PL from the PA Gods clan and Qzipco. Both of these players uber ranked. So we'll have to see what they do to one another on Forge, a competitive 1v1 map. Let's just have a look over the map. So we have the spawns in the north and south poles here. And obviously looking at the metal distribution, you're going to have a lot of different lanes that you can go down. You'll have a lot of control contended for these 4 metal points, and these sort of 2 here going down to the 4 there. Typically players tend to try and defend these areas, and then they push out in different directions as well. You also want to try and get all the other mechs, so the southwest and northwest. I like to call them your sort of corner mechs on this map. And then you have your sort of no man's land mechs on both central sides, east and west. Obviously the one in the east has a raised area which you can get some nice turret placement on, and you also have your side mechs here as well. These 6 mechs are really quite important on Forge. If you can get them, they can give you a massive advantage. But they are not as easily kept as they were previously, because of course now you have hover tanks. So you'll have to watch out, because that also means that your back door is vulnerable. Previously you could sort of rest in your base knowing that the only thing you needed to worry about from the back were inferno drops or things of the similar kind. But of course now that is all open to interpretation because of the hover layer. Now before I start proper this time, I just want to say the reason I haven't been casting so much is because I've had a few issues with PA and I've got a lot of things going on at the moment, which is why I haven't been able to contribute as much time to PA. But rest assured folks, this channel is primarily a PA channel, so if you see other videos, be it Heroes of the Storm, be it Worms, be it just other shenanigans, PA is always going to be the primary of this channel for certainly the foreseeable future. Now, let's dive into the game and see what's going on. As the players spawn in now on both the north and south poles, let's keep an eye on both of them. On the south pole spawn, you have Matiz with the lovely Theta Commander, going vehicles first. And on the north pole, you have Qzipco with the lovely Invictus Commander, going bots first. An air second after a 1-3. Wow, okay. Interesting that you get the second PDN after the second factory. Obviously, of course, we can all learn a bit from these build queues. So obviously these players are the top in the game. So let's keep an eye on the economy board there and see what's going on. Qzipco mechs up already on Matiz, who's gone for a PGen before a metal extractor, probably to try and keep up his efficiency there. Now, vehicle fabricators, obviously slower than bot fabricators, but more efficient and build faster as well. So obviously, given the map size, you can be a little safe to assume that you can get that vehicle fabricator to there to grab those mechs really quickly. And obviously these mechs in your base you can get at any time, and getting these ones is probably something of a greater priority for you. Now, going second vehicles as well. No air yet from Matiz. And lots of ants coming out instantly. Obviously they're called bolos, but I refer to them as ants for reasons that should be apparent to you by now. And Skitter as well, getting a nice bit of vision coverage there. Meanwhile from Qzipco though, if we zoom out, we can see lots and lots of docks moving around the map now. Obviously Matiz doesn't want his Skitter to die to any docks, because then he'll lose that intel vision advantage that he wants. Sorry about that there. And obviously he does want some bit of defense for these mechs here, so he's going to move some tanks up to do just that. He hasn't queued up any air yet. This is really quite peculiar. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that, because typically there's always some sort of air game going on at the same time. And there we can see the bomber coming in from Qzipco, managing to take out that fabricator before the final mechs was built, and no spinners yet from Matiz. Obviously he's put a few into the queue now, first one rolling off the board there, and the second one to follow it up, so any future fabricators may not suffer the same fate. But now Doc's coming in as well to do some raiding. The bomber goes down, Qzipco knows of the anti-air capabilities, and he's going to be ready for it. In comes some boom bots, hoping to maybe try and pick up another fabricator. Are they going to do so? Yes, they do. Really interesting boombots tactics there from Qzipco. Quite impressive as well. You don't tend to see that sort of thing followed up, but that's quite impressive actually, because he would assume that Matiz would go a bit heavier on the anti-air to follow up for the bombers, and while he did go for the heavy anti-air, he exploited that gap in the build queue for any ground defense. And of course, ants don't exactly have the fastest fire rate, so the boombots could just stream in there and pick up a fabrikill. So that was really nice play there from Qzipco. Now, something else we've seen from Qzipco is docks all over the map. That's a lot of vision. And Matiz only had one skitter earlier that sat in the middle of his base, a bit obsolete. Meanwhile, of course, Qzipco has vision all over the place. Another bomber coming in. He's going to see the anti-air and retreat. But you see here, he's got vision of those two mechs. He's got vision over here. He's got vision in the middle. He's got lockdown on this metal extractor as well, and he's got vision of these corner mechs as well, so that's really good news. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the video quickly and turn off all system sounds. There we go. So now that we're back with hopefully a bit better performance and no disturbing system sounds, we can see what's going on. So we can see Matiz here. He's being a bit defensive in this early game, which is fair enough. But Qzipco not necessarily exploiting this advantage. He hasn't expanded out to the metal. He's beginning to do so now, but he's not exploiting Matiz's early defensive strategy. And of course, when your opponent is being defensive, that is effectively relinquishing map control, and you can go and do whatever you so desire. That bomber can now go and maybe get some pickups on the tank, but unfortunately Matiz does have a spinner there, so he's not going to necessarily risk it. May as well keep the bomber for future, maybe see if you can get some pickups on some other fabricators. He's going to see the spinner there and maybe think better of it. Will the bomber go down? Will the fabricator go down is more the question. Wow, it almost does. Wow, that was very close indeed, but the Firefly did manage to see that. But yes, I was talking about relinquishing the map control there. Qzipco could be expanding, and he is a little bit over here with an air fabricator. Risky and really inefficient. But it does get the job done. Qzipco could, if he wanted to, even move over here to these sort of central corner mechs. But Matiz now managing to get up more metal of his own. Matiz lacking a little bit on the metal and stalling just a smidgen. But his efficiency is still in the okay sort of zone, so it's not too bad for him. But he's got a really heavy vehicle build and finally getting into the air game. He's not going to want to build any bombers just yet because he needs to win the air game back, and currently Qzipco massively outnumbers him with interceptors, so we probably won't see a bomber just yet unless it's crucial. Perhaps see a bomber to deal with this lot, because that'll be a really nice shot if he can survive these, keep those tanks alive, while Qzipco's air force is on the other side of the planet. But the interceptor's there. Standing sentry. Will we see a bomber come out of that air factory next? No, we will not. But these tanks nicely kiting that other army from Qzipco's, managing to trade really nicely. Qzipco's much superior army size there, completely denied. But he's continuing to keep the pressure up on the other lanes there. The other factory doesn't go up. The fabricator here could just about die, but unfortunately Matiz's tanks did get out there in front, which is nice to see. So another factory's going to go up. Just these odd sort of docks here, there and everywhere, just being a bit of a nuisance from Qzipco at the moment. And Matiz is beginning to deal with it though, because he's getting his map control back. His defensive strategies are paying off a little bit now. He's managing to defend his expanding fabricators, and he's managing to push out with his commander as well, now that he knows that Qzipco is transitioning more into tanks, and the boombot sniping isn't necessarily too much of a threat now. And the commander is okay in the middle if he can fortify himself. What's his build queue? Couple of mechs by the look of it, possibly even a radar there from this fabricator here. I'm surprised he's not going for some factories or some static defenses just yet. They may be more crucial at this point, but still no anti-air in this army. This really surprises me, but this is also why Matiz needs to get back in the air game. I wonder where all of his interceptors have gone. Ah, they're coming in from the side. Unfortunately, oh, they do manage to take down the bomber, which is good, but unfortunately they did meet all of those interceptors from Qzipco. Air fabricator over here, still vulnerable, and Matiz going for the central expansion there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop out and just keep the picture-in-picture here on this general region, so we can see what's going on rather than just focusing on Qzipco's base, because I know I've been focusing a lot on Matiz, but this is a really interesting strategy from Matiz, going really defensive early game with such heavy vehicle play. No bot factories whatsoever is really surprising. Now this is also really interesting because Matiz, while he's being pushed by Qzipco here, he's going to be able to kite his commander away from all those units, while these ones maybe come in from the side and take advantage of the spaghetti strats, as they are often called, the single file nature of some pathfinding sometimes when you have sort of units sort of, I suppose, elongating out into single file from a rally positioning. That's the word I was looking for. But a little bit of comboxing going on. Not something you normally see. But the walls are going up. Both commanders losing a little bit of health though. Matiz down to just above 80. Qzipco with his Invictus down to about 80 as well. And Matiz's units are now there to reinforce. Which is really interesting. Let's have a look at the army tab here, because I think Matiz is probably picking up the unit count now. Yes, he is. Look at that mobile unit count. He's getting ahead in the lead now. He's managing to draw Qzipco into much poor, unfavourable fights. And here we see the Drifter moving in like the hover layer. They do exploit that and just gonna sit there and do a bit of damage over time to those mechs. And you'll see that they can just all go over lava now, so you can't say that this lot is only vulnerable to bombers or this entrance here from ground, because you do have that hover layer now. And of course any unit that is a hover unit can go over water or lava. This includes things like locusts, the naval kaiju, I believe it's called, is also one that hovers. That is also in addition to the Ares Titan. Now, here again we can see Matiz positioning his units nicely to maybe come in from the side, but there is another thing Matiz can be doing, and that is reclaiming wreckage for even more metal. He's got enough metal at the moment as it is, but he could get more because there's a lot of wreckage lying around. But of course he doesn't have a bot factory to build a combat fab, so that's not to say he can't reclaim with regular fabricators, but combat fabs generally more desired to do so. This pelter is going to be a bit of a nuisance for Qzipco, because it's just pushing Qzipco further and further back. And this is the point of Qzipco not exploiting the map control dominance that Matiz relinquished early game. He's now pushed back right into his base, very little expansion, and Matiz holds all of the cards. He holds the unit count, he holds the production, he holds the economy and the map control, and he also holds the flank. So Qzipco now in a really dire situation, and I think we might have to see an all or nothing from Qzipco here. And Qzipco's air dominance has sort of fizzled out into nothing, but that might also be reflected in the economy there. He just doesn't have the build power to support the air factory, and now that he knows that Matiz does have the spinners in his army, he's not going to get the bomber capacity up enough to be able to really punch any holes. So he's just decided, you know what, I'm just going to use my economy on better things and not bother building those air. And especially considering Matiz isn't exactly going heavy into the air game, Qzipco I think at this point is saying, you know what, let's just forget about the air game. I need the ground forces because Matiz is massively outnumbering. Really nice uber cannon there from Matiz. Let's see what happens here. I'm just going to close the picture-in-picture and go into dynamic camera mode as we watch this battle unfold. Matiz pulling back a little bit as Qzipco's forces are destroyed, leaving in the army tab there with Qzipco with a third of Matiz's overall unit count. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the GGs soon, not for two reasons. One, as I've already stated, the unit counts and the map control and all of that jazz, and also the end of the chronocam here. But what do we see here? We see boombots. I know that boombot sniping is a thing that can happen. Let's have a look from Matiz's perspective. Does he see this? No, he doesn't. Where are the boombots going to go? They're going to come in from the side. Matiz sees the boombots. What's he going to do against these? Are they going to try and get the commander snipe? I think Matiz is just going to try and intercept these. I don't exactly see what the boombots are going to do because they don't know where the commander is, and they've got to run through an entire base. They're just going to get gobbled up, and once these are all dead, Qzipco is going to call the GG. And without any further ado, that's probably the end of the game, to be honest. Inferno's coming in on Qzipco's commander, and there is the GG from Qzipco. Nicely played there. So you can see there the interesting strategies from Matiz. Early game defensive play, but late game swarms of tanks can really pay off in your favour. But of course also, it would be interesting to see what would happen if Qzipco had exploited the map control and got a really booming economy while Matiz was sat in his base early on. But hey ho, that's that. Thanks again for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments, do leave them below. Again, if you liked the video, do drop a like and subscribe for more PA content on the way very, very soon indeed, including cinematics, trailers, and more casts. And also pop in a bit of gameplay here and there as well, because of course I'm a member of the Realm community, which you are more than welcome to join up to at the website, but there's a lot of shenanigans that normally go on there as well. Guys, I'd just like to reiterate, if you see non-PA content on the channel, that does not mean that PA is gone. It just means that I haven't had a chance to get around to PA, or if I have had a chance to get around to PA, it's in the pipeline. But yes, thank you very much for your support, folks. And as always, have a nice day. Until next time.
How do you use the mini unit launcher thing?
You just tell them to attack on the land.
No, let's attack units.
It's fine, they won't get there in time.
Let's move our units back just in case. Oh, and loads of bombers.
No, it's over.
Flag. Really? It's gonna be close.
No, it's over.
It's gonna be really close.
No, it's not. It's done.
Oh, I thought he had loads of bombers.
It's done. Okay, it's over. And the pellet drops. The big red X is there. It's down. Oh yeah!